Big Boy's
Big
neighborhood.
Boy.
Beautiful day in the neighborhood, ladies and gentlemen. I've been waiting for this one. You know, you just see someone out and they always seem like they're so humble.
Yeah.
And then you watch them from a distance, then you find out, hey, he's not humble. You look at him and say, man, he's kind of a butthole. Well, that's not him. No, we got SiR in the neighborhood. Sir, welcome. You straight on your volume and everything down there?
Man, thank you for having me today,
Man, it's our pleasure to have you in here.
Man.
And you know what, man? So SiR is your name.
That's correct.
Your real name.
Yep.
So on your ID, it says SiR.
That's correct.
That is dope as hell.
Hello, sir.
SiR Daryl Fred. Hey, man, but that's a name already from the beginning that commands and demands respect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even someone that maybe not rock with you, you know, they got to say SiR.
Yeah, but it's two sides to that coin, too. I got to give respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
But I can see that in you, though, bro. I can see that in you. Inglewood, California, IA.
You already know.
I heard that, man. When did you first fall in love with music?
Oh, man. I got introduced at a very young age.
Yeah.
My mother is the minister of music at our church and has been for 30 years.
Is she still in?
Yeah, she still works for the same church.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
That's
we were
beautiful.
singing in front of the church when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
So I don't remember a
You
time
can hear
in
the
my life-
texture, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because for
Yeah,
real,
for
I mean,
sure.
and not to take away from anything, man, but there's so much microwave, and there's so many people that say, "Oh, I could just do it."
Yeah.
So you can hear how soulful, and just you can hear the gospel in it. So it doesn't surprise me that you got in early, man.
Yes, sir. Yes,
and you
sir.
say your mom, she's still in the church.
Yeah, still
you
plays.
grew up in the church.
Yes, sir.
How does that work when you know you're so into the church, and then there's this also a secular music or a music that's outside of the church that you possibly fell in love with?
I think it has a lot to do with me as a person. I try to be as honest as possible with everything in my life. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean? And Christians get the stigma a lot that, you know, they're perfect, holier than thou and things like that, which, you know, when you really go to church, you learn that, you know, it's about coming as you are, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, that's a big thing. You know, fellowship is huge, but we don't judge, you know what I mean? So I am who I am, and I know my family knows my heart. God knows my heart, so I don't have to really worry about much.
I heard that, man. So are you a Christian?
Yes.
I heard that.
Yes, sir. I love the Lord.
I heard that, man. I'm glad you came in. My buddy Jose is probably like, thank you.
He's
He's like, thank you. Finally, someone I can listen to, man. That's why you and SiR hugged each other out there like that. You was like,
when you listen to my music, don't judge me, though, man. All right.
right, man. When you see him at the Ice Cube concert, don't judge him. But yeah, he's I call him my extension cord to the Lord. And by that I mean, like, maybe your family's more of the extension cord because you're close.
Yeah.
I'm just not as close as Jose, so he's like my extension cord to the Lord that keep me plugged in, so I can still go and do a little bit of this. You
That's
know what
right.
I'm saying? Just snatch me right back in.
That's
So
right.
you fall in love with music at an early age. I heard that. Now, what about as far as getting into music? Like when you say you grew up in a church, were you playing and everything as well?
We used to sing in the choir. I don't really play.
Right.
But, you know, my mom always played, and me and my brothers will always be singing. But when I was about 16, I decided that I didn't really want to do music, so I started like getting heavy into sports. And didn't really-
What sport?
Basketball. I love
heard
basketball,
that.
man. I see the picture you got with Kobe right there.
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes,
It's
sir.
the coolest picture in the
Wait till
room
I
by
get the
far.
real one. That's the Photoshop one. Kobe, come down and take the real one.
Yeah,
you know.
So I was really into basketball, you know, in high school and going into my young adulthood, but it didn't really work out. I never got, you know, to be as tall as I thought I was going to be.
Right.
Me too.
You know,
do we?
you know, my brothers were writing songs back in the day, and this was like probably 2006, 7. I, you know, came home and, you know, just decided to try it out, you know, see if I enjoyed it for myself. And my brother gave me a Pro Tools template and just said, do what you do.
Go.
You know what I mean? So I wrote a song, recorded it, sent it to him. He was like, yeah, this is trash.
Oh, no.
But keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He didn't.
Why was he in a position to tell you it was trash and you took that? Was he a little bit more advanced? Like, you know, and the it's trash came from a great place.
A place of love. It wasn't like, you know, him trying to just, you know, tell me I didn't need to be doing it.
Right.
But he basically told me what was wrong with it. You know what I mean? How I could, you know, make it better. And just let me go. He wasn't trying to like make me his thing. He was trying to let me find it for myself, which is just me in general. That's just how I live my life.
How did you fall back in love with it, SiR?
Man, I applied my own life at the time to, you know what I mean, what I wanted to say on wax. You know what I mean? And it's been that way since I really got into my own personal artistry. You know what I mean? I think that's one thing that stands out in my music is I'm honest as I can be, man.
Therapeutic as well?
Man, this is my therapy for sure.
I heard that. And were there ever any times where you, not just with sports or in the church, were there ever times where you just kind of, you know, like got away from it, where people was like, oh, he's not as focused? You know what I'm saying? Was there any street time? You know what I'm saying? Because we all gotta crash the car.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Shoot, over the last like 5 years, I've probably crashed my car 3 times.
Right.
Just, stress, man, and the further along we get, the more pressure there is. You know what I mean? And I was just talking about that this morning. How one of my biggest fears is not living up to my potential. You know what I mean?
That you put on yourself.
Exactly. Like, all these opportunities in front of me, and, I don't take advantage. You know what I mean? So that. I'm definitely on top of my stuff as of now. But yeah, we break down. We all break down sometimes.
And you got to do that, man. And I think that adds layers to you as well. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it gives you more of a story. It gives you more of an identity for us to identify. And also, because we look for similarities. Yeah. And we look for somebody that when you really listen to music that's been there, that we can't possibly tell our story the way that you could tell your and our story. Yeah. And I think that's what music does for a lot of people. Like, we get in the same here. Yeah. Me too. I understand that. So, and that right there is therapeutic for people. Even if you're not creating it, being able to hear it and kind of take it in.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you go from falling in love with music to where you say, you know what, this is what I want to do? Like, what was that turned the corner? Like, either you work with someone or somebody give you a head nod?
So I started off as an engineer first, and I like to tell this side of the story because, there are a lot of people that are extremely talented writers, producers, and they just never get, the push or the recognition, or they just don't know how to put music out on their own. And I was that for a long time, where I was just helping other people create their identities. You know what I mean? And what I was learning was, no one was ever going to really take what I did and, make it, what it was supposed to be. I was always just going to be, lending my gift to somebody else, basically. And I think the last straw, I was in a session with, I'm not going to say this dude's name because I respect him, you know what I mean? But he kind of like, crapped on me this session. Like, he was walking around his house, and I'm an engineer. I've been there for 2-3 years working with this cat. He's like, yeah, so this is it's my pool. It's my restaurant in the back.
Shit.
That's my engineer. Couldn't even give me a first name. And I'm talking, I've been there for so long, and I just felt so disrespected. I quit that day. Walked right up to him and was like, yeah, I'm out of here, man. Pay me for the day. You only got to pay me for the week. Just pay me for the day. I'm out of here.
Did he know why?
No,
you
he had
walked
no
out.
idea.
You knew why, and you didn't have to.
I still don't think he gets it. You know what I mean? But that's on him. It's not on me to teach him how to be a man. You know what I mean?
And trust me, I know exactly who you're talking about now. So as soon as you
I feel
describe
like I know too.
what was going down, but yeah, and it's crazy because you know how there's sometimes, bro, when you have this feeling of, I need to make a move, but either not we get caught up in a comfort zone, but we get to where God has show you, like, you know what, you're not going to make it for this move, so I'm gonna force it. You know what I'm saying? And I want to give you a sign, and this sign is going to be so huge or so small, but it's going to be huge to you. And that was that sign.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think 6 months after that, I dropped the project that got me the recognition to get noticed by TDE.
I heard that.
I mean? And I had already had all the music like sitting in a folder. I was creating constantly, you know what I mean, just because I love to. And, I needed the kick in the butt. You know what I mean? I definitely needed that.
Who was the first person to reach out to you from TDE?
Dave Free.
Dave Free, okay.
That's crazy because he usually doesn't have a good ear. No, I'm just kidding.
How did he reach out to you? DM or what?
He actually reached out to a friend of mine, Kenny Fresh. He was the person that helped me put out my other project. And it's funny that, he called Kenny looking for me. He had to call Portland to get to Kenny.
Oh,
and they were in Santa Monica, and I was like, in Inglewood or something like that.
Right.
I was on 99th
like,
and
bro,
Myrtle.
I'm right here. You know what I'm saying?
So, they called me and was like, yeah, we at Windmark. And I was like, I'm 15 minutes away. I drove up. It was a session for J-Rock, but like Dot was there that night, you know. And I
had you been around them before?
Not at all.
First time.
Wow.
Okay, so I have a really cool story, man. 2011, I grew up in a musical family. All my brothers do music. At the time, we were working together, just, kind of doing things, trying to get shows and stuff like that. So we opened up for TDE at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were probably like the second act before they went, you know what I mean? So we had like a good spot, and I remember I performed some song. I was like, good Girl, you're so beautiful from your head to your cuticles. How am I in love with you and I don't even know your name? Forget it though, they call me original middle name. I was talking trash and the crowd went crazy. And after the show, I like met Ab-Soul. It was a crazy night. And that was just a night I remember because I, never expected it to go so well. You know what I mean? And I never could have seen the future and what was to come. You know what I mean?
Isn't it crazy when you look in the rearview mirror?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you looking through the windshield, it's different.
Right.
Oh,
You look in that rearview mirror, it's like, wow. and that shows you also, man, whatever you call it, it's God. It was written. It was, it's never or happenstance. It's just because, like things are really written. And for you to lock in on that night and for them to lock in, there's also a chemistry that you guys probably didn't even see that was forming right there.
Right.
You can go on and on like, how did y'all get on the same show? How did this happen? But it happened.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't even worry about the details. Just, embrace what happened. And I tell that story to everybody, man. I don't even have to be on the radio to talk about that one. That's just something that I hold.
No, that's beautiful,
sure.
bro.
The first single from Chasing Summer is Hair Down, featuring Kendrick Lamar. How did the song come together, and how did you decide to get Kendrick on this track? Because TDE has a huge roster of great talent. So how did that come about?
Man, I wrote this song on the road when we were on the championship tour, and I had been like holding on to it. I think this was probably one of the first songs that I had in my playlist for this new album. And getting Kendrick on the record is the first thing you think of.
Right.
It's
Right,
not
right,
like,
right.
Yeah, it's not like I was like, oh, who can I get on this?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
No,
All right, I got
I had
everybody
that.
else. Big is on there. I got Louis from the station. See if I can get this Kendrick on here, dude.
Right. No, that was definitely a no-brainer. And, I'm blessed to be a part of the camp, in general. You know what I mean? So to have a verse from Kendrick is just next level. It's crazy.
What have you learned from Kendrick by working so closely with him?
Oh man, don't be afraid to be yourself. Everybody in the camp is themselves and they're proud of it. You know what I mean? And the one thing that they have in common is their work ethic. Other than that, they're so unique. You know what I mean? So I can't be afraid to be myself. That's what I learned.
Who gets on your nerves the most?
I would say schoolboy. No, you
Zach.
answer. No.
Zach, Zakari.
Oh, really?
Zakari! Why Zakari?
The
my
voices. You know what I'm saying? The
Battle of
voices.
the voices here.
No, the way he talks sometimes, he's hilarious. He's like, "What's up, brother?" And just
Like,
You know this extra.
and it's probably even
super
worse,
extra.
like 1, 2, 3 in the morning. Like,
yeah, right. No, he's cool though.
But when
That's
you
the bro.
say like just how when you think of TDE, just how original, and you don't find such a group of people that are so different. Yeah. But they're the same, but they're so different, bro. And I don't know where that come from, if it's the whole thing, if it's top, and the most talented
I think that's
group
just
of people, bro.
that's a LA thing though, and that's a lot of people like.
No, I know a lot of white people from LA too.
But then for people that aren't from LA, from the outside looking in, all they get is gangster rap.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And LA is so much more than that. So TDE embodies Los
Yes, sir.
Angeles. You know what I mean? I always tell people that my take on who Kendrick Lamar is, he's like the voice of LA.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really, I'm the voice
Oh,
of LA.
big.
But if you want
Wow, slow down, sir.
Kendrick. Kendrick, come get your boy. Come get your boy. You know what I'm saying?
No disrespect. I know I'm in your house.
Kendrick is a voice from LA. Yeah.
Not the voice of LA.
Yeah.
It was
But
from LA.
he just embodies what LA is. You know what I mean? And he does it very well. And Ab-Soul, he's evil genius, man. He was my favorite rapper for years and years and years.
Beforehand.
Man. Yeah, beforehand. I got introduced to soul before I heard any dot. You know what I
That's
mean?
dope.
And I know a lot of people remember when Section 80 came out, Habits and Contradictions came out, and then we got Control System. That was when everybody got introduced to TDE. You know what I mean? I got Control System first and found my way back to the other ones. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So yeah, I definitely got respect for my crew.
So when you go early on, before you do get with TDE, what were you doing beforehand? Because you want to be in, and aside from the engineering, like, was there ever a point? Because I know even with J-Rock, when he got signed through Warner Brothers, it was like, oh, I'm on. And then it was like, wait, well, no, I'm off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Did you have any of those, like, I'm on, like, this is about to happen?
Yeah. Oh man, I've sat down and had meetings and press play on, record execs and, thought things were gonna turn out, and you know what I mean? One meeting in particular, I remember this was probably like 2009, was Big John. You know what I mean? And I sat down and I played my whole little heart out to him, you know what I mean? And I remember I had on this ugly gray shirt, and I was sweating so hard, and I was so nervous. I'll never forget that. And he had already had a bad experience with my brothers. They were writers, and they were published through Warner Chappell, and they decided not to sign to Big John. They signed with Warner Chappell. So that meeting was awkward from jump.
Oh yeah,
he was sitting there on his phone, like not even looking our way.
Now, who exactly is Big John? Is he a big wig?
Yeah, he's one of the bigs. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And he's been at numerous companies in the industry. He's been around for 30 years now.
Oh, can't keep a job, huh, John? No,
no, he's a staple for sure. And I got nothing but respect for him with all the artists that he's put out. But I just remember your
time.
So,
like man, it's on.
John,
man.
You see me.
And so when you do get a chance, or TDE come at you, and it becomes real, and you look at the roster and you see all the success, does that add to the pressure? Or okay,
it does. It's very intimidating, man. And I mean, I've had to like really grow into myself a lot. Being around them. You ask anybody that's close to us, it's a Shark Tank. You know what I mean? You walking in, you better be ready. You better be on your stuff. Check your pants, check your shirt. Make sure you ain't got no stains on nothing. Make sure
Lord,
the roast
all
beef.
that, man. So, it's definitely intense. You know what I mean? And they don't hold back. Which is, I love that. I'm that type of person. I don't want you to lie to me.
Y'all sharpen each other too.
Exactly. You know what I mean? It makes you a better person if you have people around you that are extremely brutally honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and by the time it get to us, it went through so many different channels.
Exactly.
Yeah. so it's almost like a finishing school as well, man.
Exactly.
And it's out of love.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes us all better, man. Yeah. There's no complaints over here.
Sir, why did you decide to label the album Chasing Summer? And what's up with the actual labels, the cover of the album?
Oh, man, most of these records were written on the road. Over the last 2 years, we've done a lot of traveling. I got to tour with my camp, TDE. We got to tour with Miguel, which was crazy. And just a lot of experiences, man. This it's been crazy, man. I'm happy. I'm tired. You know what I mean, from all the work I've been doing. But, I thought it would be fun to kind of just share, all the experiences that I've, accrued over the last 2 years.
Are those tags actual tags from your traveling?
That's actually a custom piece from a friend of mine. Those are his father's tags. And, he basically saves, he has way more than that. But he's been saving tags since like the 70s. So some of those are really old tags, you know what I mean?
What are some of your favorite memories from all that traveling and all those tours that you guys did?
Oh, man. I think South Korea was the craziest thing I've seen in my life. Wow. I got to open up for Kendrick in South Korea, and we performed at the Olympic Stadium in Seoul.
What's the capacity there? A guesstimate.
It's like, well, we had 15,000 when I was on stage. So I think by the time Kendrick got up, it was like 20,000 people in there.
Wow.
Yeah, and performing out of the country, I've learned, a lot of times, they don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? They're going off of your energy.
Yeah.
They're going off of the music, you know what I mean? And they're going off of your interaction with them. So, I went out there and I was just trying to do my best, but I noticed the crowd was really attentive. I put my hand up, tell them to wave. All 20,000 people stick their hand up.
That's dope.
You know what I mean? So I'll never forget that, man. And just, flying around with Dot, man. We did a whole tour where we were just flying around on private jets. And I'm from Inglewood, man, and I don't care about a whole bunch of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather be in some simple stuff than fancy. But
that one, you was like, okay,
I ain't gonna say no to that.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep it too real. Like, hey man, ain't no Southwest going to South Korea. Ain't it all South?
Yeah, man, I don't want to do all this.
Like, what? Got flight? Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll try that. Thank you so much.
That was definitely probably the coolest time in my life, man. We were gone for like 3 weeks, and you don't get to travel like that. I'll probably never do that again.
But you know what it is too, though? It also gave you, I think, an appetizer of what the main course is about to be as well.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you get next to people and your talent is already there. So when you see Dot do it, Dot probably saw somebody else was like, man, I don't know if and now, you know what I'm saying? So, but just your talent and how humble you are, you know what I'm saying, and the hard working. And I never got a crazy vibe around you. So there's people that when you come with the music and you come with the energy, then there's other people that want to see you win too. Yeah. And then we pick up. Right. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely pick up. Yeah. And go ahead, honey.
You tweeted that you love the state of music right now. Oh, yeah. Who outside of TDE do you love? What else are you listening to?
Oh man. There's a long list. I'm just gonna start. Jid, love him.
Yes.
I mean, Dreamville in general. I know they're supposed to be our rivals, and I kind of hate that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's, fans. I let them have their fun. Yeah,
that's all outside though.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
We have so much respect for each other.
But you do have a record called Dreamville Killer that's on Chasing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dreamville Killer that's on.
Yeah, DK all day.
Yeah.
Nah, I definitely like Ari. Her project is amazing.
So good, man.
Love Ari. Nao, huge fan of her music. Kaylani's been dropping bangers consistently for the last 5 years. Big shout out to her.
And I think we want to hear it again.
Yeah.
Not again, but now that it's penetrating more. You know what I'm saying? Where we do kind of want to like, oh, okay, yeah, we need this.
We need,
you know what I'm saying?
A staple.
We
for
need
sure.
this. Yeah, man. So did you ever feel like we had gotten away from it for so long that you started to think like, man, am I going to be able to penetrate what's being like banged into people's heads?
Yes and no, because I know, and just from being around music all my life, everything kind of happens in cycles with music. You know what I mean? The gospel industry is the same way as like the secular industry. You know what I mean? Certain times, you want some Kojic Baptist gospel music. At other times, you might want some Fred Hammond.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's the same thing. Sometimes you might want Cardi B. Sometimes you might want some Rhapsody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it all works in cycles. You know what I mean? And the fans kind of dictate that, and powers that be like Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, they dictate that with, they're tastemakers. Whatever they put out, that kind of shifts the tide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it all depends. But I always felt like the best thing I could do for myself is just be honest. You know what I mean? Because if you're chasing what everybody else is doing, you're never going to really find anything for yourself. You know what I mean? And I've learned that just working at regular jobs, trying to be like people at my job. And
right.
That didn't work for me. So
yeah,
what I mean?
man, he wears name tag on the left a little bit. Dang, I want you mine too.
Hey, I only signed up 6 people today. I only signed up 1.
Like, man, who giving you your leads? Hey, man, tell me this story about Stevie Wonder walking in on you.
Man, so this happened twice. I was singing background for a friend of mine. Her name is Oceana. And she invited him down, and he came down, and there were probably like 10 people, same amount of people in this room. You know what I mean? He walked in, sat down, and was like, "What are you guys working on?" And everybody was like, "Nothing."
Yeah.
And he picked up a lap steel and just sat there and just started playing it, and played for about 45 minutes and did like 3 or 4 songs, and we all just sat there like,
damn,
Just sitting.
like sitting there and just staring at it, man. And the second time I was at my buddy Andre Harris's house. And I was working with Melanie Fiona, and she invited him down. And I don't know how I keep ending up in a room where he gets invited. By
Right.
Yeah, like people just
I'm
have
not
to
gonna ask
connect
no
to
questions.
Stevie.
Yeah, don't ask.
that energy.
So he invited her down, or she invited him down probably around like 11. He didn't show up till about 3 a.m. And when he got there, it was just him, his security guard. He sat down. We started like writing a song a little bit, and we're writing. We look over, and he just took a nap. And we all just kind of sat there
and watched him
and didn't know what to do.
And watch him
man.
nap.
Like creeps, dog.
Like, do you know how many people wish they could watch Stevie? Like, you sitting there like, man, I'm having a moment right there.
And we didn't know what to do.
Selfies,
His
like-
security was like, it's cool. He'll wake up. It's been a long day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
let him be.
What are we going to say?
Hey,
Hey, Stevie, we writing, man.
Hey,
Wake
brother,
up.
brother.
Open
For one,
your eyes,
stop
man.
following me around.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
like-
not funny.
No, but the reason why I ask you that, we got Stevie Wonder here, man. Okay, we
I
don't.
We invited
I'm
him.
sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry. Hey, man, your mom worked with Michael Jackson?
She did.
In what capacity?
She sang background on, don't hold me to this. I think she sang background on, either Save the World
Damn.
or just one of the.
Well, like Heal the World or Save the World? Heal
tell
the
me.
World.
You tell
Damn. He was like, you tell me, bitch.
One of
Nah,
those.
I'm man.
And she was a dancer with Tina Turner as well?
No, she sang background.
Background,
for,
damn.
She sang background for Tina Turner. And I mean,
So it's, man,
among
that's...
many, she's worked with, Fred Hammond, what I
Yeah.
mean? Andre Crouch back in the day,
Hello.
you know what I mean? If you know gospel,
Yeah.
you know the Gouchers for sure.
Hey, man. Oh, go ahead, love.
Go ahead, Big.
I'm just saying that there's like, that's in your bone marrow.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's in like your DNA.
And I'm proud of it too.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Do you play your music for her ahead of time and ask her for her advice?
I definitely do. And not ask her for advice, just
to see.
I just want to see if she likes it. Because, she'll tell me if she doesn't.
Has she told you that she doesn't like your music?
And she tells me when she loves stuff. So,
Right.
I definitely send her stuff all the time. I got a song on this one, number 8, that she doesn't approve of.
What is the track called?
It's called "That's Why I Love You."
Okay,
Yeah,
and she
but
doesn't
What
like
can
it.
she not like about
Yeah.
That's Why I Love
I'll let
You?
y'all listen to it and find out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't really
Yeah, it's
can't
probably
talk about it.
Yeah, as soon as we hear, we be like, oh, that's why. Yeah,
But
yeah.
she was like, I love the melodies. They're
Yeah,
so
but I know
beautiful.
you're not gonna sing that song.
Yeah,
No,
right.
you know what I'm saying? I like what you're doing here. Yeah.
How are you overall feeling about Chasing Summer, about this project that you're putting out?
It's the best music I've put out so far, I feel like. And I'm excited because everybody around me is excited, you know what I mean? So, we've, been planning for the last year solid, looking at the same playlist for the last 6 months. We finally got our last bit of features and clearance, and we're really ready to go. So I'm super excited.
You say features without us having it in our hand or in our headphones now. Who do you have? Or who can you?
I can talk about it.
Go ahead.
Do it.
So, my favorite feature, besides Kendrick Lamar, of course, Jill Scott.
What?
Yeah.
What that gonna sound like?
Now, what's funny is when I told Top that I was going to work with her, the first thing he said is, make sure you get a microphone reference in the record. And
Oh
make sure
my
you
gosh,
make
the
sure it's
video.
nasty. And, I could tell you straight up, if I were Miss Jill, I would probably hate that attention. You know what I mean? I'm sure it's not what she wanted people to take off of that video.
Right,
It's an
right.
old video, you know what I mean? So I had a good laugh with Top about that, but it's definitely not that. It's a classic Jill Scott record, and it's a classic SiR record.
I heard
You know what I mean?
that.
So I'm definitely excited to release that.
What is the title of that?
It's called Still Blue.
Still Blue.
Yeah.
I have to be looking forward to that. You also tweeted that you said, don't ever forget your worth. Has there ever been a time where you felt you forgot your worth?
You know what? That was a two-parter. Right before that, I tweeted pay respect.
I did see that as well.
Because there's two sides to it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? There's two sides to every coin, But you have to pay your respect to, the people that came before you. You know what I mean? And make sure you pay respect to the people that are on the same journey as you.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you also have to remember your worth and know, what you're capable of, and never forget that. That's the most important thing. You know what I mean? Because if you don't know what you're worth, you can't really tell anybody else what you're worth.
And then early on, when we paid this tuition into the School of Experience, we learned that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
real.
Even with you walking out of your job that day,
Yeah.
that's also checking your worth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And us kind of like, okay, I'm putting tuition into the School of Experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you do see a tweet like that, it also kind of, it kind of pumps us up as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because even when you just read it, in my head, I was already like, yep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real.
Like you can't listen to that and not think about your worth or telling somebody, how you get down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And anytime I tweet anything like that, it's for me. You know what I mean? And my creation is for me. You know what I mean? And I'll never say that I create specifically for fans. I love my fans, but the reason I love my fans is because they connect to things that I write as therapy for myself. I gotta get these songs off, or I'm gonna be in these streets doing, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm turning the Inglewood surf for real.
What's the reaction when you have a fan that tells you that they connected to a song that you are connected to? Because like you said, you did it for your own therapy.
Best feeling in the world. It's the best feeling in the world. I couldn't ask for any. That's extra. You know what I mean? Because once I get the song off and I appreciate it, I love it, I've done what I needed to do.
Does it ever surprise you because you're like, those are my emotions, and someone else out there in the world is having this emotional experience?
No, it doesn't surprise me. We're all pulling from the same, pool. You know what I mean? Like Durkio World just jumped out of a plane, right? Me and my homies are going to jump out of a plane in the next couple of days.
What?
You know what I mean?
That.
And we have been planning this for months, just on, aside from, the music and all this stuff. A buddy of mine just needed a change of pace, and I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this." You know what I mean? And to see that Durkio World was like, "Yeah, I needed this," and it was for his rollout, but he basically put what we were planning, in front of us, so we can have that confirmation that we needed to do that. You know what I mean? And with songs, like I've have tons of songs titled certain things, and I look up those songs, and there's songs 30 years ago with the same exact title.
Yeah.
We're pulling from the same pool. You know what I mean?
And then also, when someone comes up to you and that feeling is amazing, like, damn, I wrote that and they felt it.
Yeah.
There's probably so many songs and artists that wrote and you felt that way. You know what I'm saying? So
John Mayer Daughters. I can listen to that song.
I don't think I've ever heard that song.
Why did you connect to that song?
yeah, like you
Because
do
I know why I connect to it.
that was probably the first John Mayer song I heard first. So it was my introduction into his world. You know what I mean? And, you know, I was raised by my mom. My dad, you know, he spent some time in the pen when we were younger. So, you know, my fondest memories are of my mother, you know, at a young age, and just knowing what she had to go through. You know what I mean? I always, you know, I have nothing but respect for women, you know what I mean? And I get that from how my mother was when we were younger, you know? So that song was definitely, it's just beautifully written, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
the perspective is wonderful.
That's what I love
because
about
what he's talking about, he's not, you know, he's talking about being good to them, but he's talking about a woman that's broken from her experiences with other men, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's just, you know, as a songwriter, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You know what I mean? And just as somebody that loves music, you know what I mean? He struck the right chords.
Have you had a chance to work with him or meet him?
No, not yet.
It'd be great.
That'd be great.
For sure, bucket list. Yeah. And these are the type of sessions where I'll pull up and I'll be the engineer. I still do that.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah, I don't have to like write or be, you know, producer. No, I just want to be in the room and still, you know, apply myself. I don't want to sit in the corner
and do nothing.
But I'll do whatever I need to do. You know what I mean? So John Mayer, when you hear this, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, link up.
Being an engineer, do you think that made you a better artist?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And I think any artist that understands it has an advantage. You know what I mean? Not to say you can't, you know, be successful in, you know, because you don't know Pro Tools. You know what I mean? You just have that much more of a connection to your own creativity. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I started that way. I started with, you know what I mean, engineering, and then kind of walked into songwriting, stepped into production, and then kind of found an overall gist of what I wanted to be.
Do you ever find it hard for a push and shove, like with working with a different engineer and then maybe not seeing the vision? Or
I don't really work with engineers like that. I still cut my own vocals.
Yeah, hello.
Which is sad.
I got this.
I mean, I'm big. I'm sick of it, man. I'm stressing.
Well, you definitely want me to come down and do it for you.
This last time around was just tough, man. You know, because usually we have a lot more time when it comes to like the mixing of things, but this time around I was rushing and I was still recording songs, trying to get other songs mixed, and it was just too much. I need 6 hands, really. You know, so next time around, I'm definitely gonna have some help. Hopefully.
Man, sir, thank you for coming into the neighborhood, man.
Thank you for having us. Let me just say, real quick before I leave, man.
Yes, sir.
Next time I'm up here, we got to do a phone tap.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me tell you, just keep your guard up.
Okay.
Yeah, because we probably may not do a phone tap. You probably may get phone taps. You know? But no, thank you, man. I love your energy, man.
Nothing
Chasing
but love,
Summers,
big.
man. Thank you, and we'll see you very soon.
Yes, sir.
Sir in the neighborhood, Big Boy's
Big
neighborhood.
Boy.